Welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com, and this is your Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead, March 19th through the 23rd. Let's go ahead and get right into it. A little bit of back and forth action on Friday, but for the week, the S&P 500 ended down the week 1.24% on the market. We had many shakeups in the Trump cabinet, but U.S. stocks finished to the plus side on Friday. We had a strong report on industrial production and consumer sentiment. That sent the Dow up 73 points Friday. The Nasdaq ended up fractionally, and the S&P ended up 5 points on Friday. But overall for the week, the markets were down about 1% each. So not too much damage in the markets, but a little bit of a back and forth between the bulls and the bears. Normally I'd be showing you the SPY, but the SPY went ex-dividend on Friday, so that looks a little bit worse than it actually was for the SPY. For the SPY, we were down 1.67%. And we ended up below the 50 SMA, but the SPX, the cash, we're right on the 50 SMA here. This blue line you see right there. So that was kind of the action on Friday. The markets popped up, pulled back, and held above the 50 and the 10 SMA here on the daily. Let's go ahead and look at the weekly chart of the SPY. Still battling here on the weekly chart at the 10 SMA for the S&P 500 cash. So holding up okay here for the bulls. But, if we start to break down this 10, then you have to think, we're going to retest the 20 SMA on the weekly chart here. So what I like to do with these videos is, we look at some markets. We're going to look at some of the bigger names, see how the generals are doing, such as the Amazons, the Apples, the Googles and whatnot. And then we'll also look at, as traders, what we need to be on the lookout for the week ahead. Some earnings that'll be coming up, some news that happened on Friday that we could look out for. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get into it. So we went through the SPY basically. We had this pop here last Friday, right? Nice pop. We thought the bulls were back in control, but then Monday came and we started to kind of drift down here, and we've been testing for the week the 50 SMA and our 13 EMA, the purple line you see right underneath, and also the 10 SMA. So we've kind of been, pushing down a little bit on the 50 and these fast moving averages here, but not breaking. So now we're going to have to see, is the market going to continue up this week coming up and get back over, that 2760 area for the S&P cash, or are they going to start pushing us down to break this 50 SMA? The market, it hates uncertainty, and with all these Trump changes in the cabinet, that gives us a little bit of uncertainty. Larry Kudlow was put in place of Gary Cohn, so I think that's a positive for the markets. They know him, they kind of know what his policies are. Larry Kudlow, not to get political or anything, so I think that's a positive for the markets. They're familiar with him, and so let's check out some other markets as we're doing this. So we'll check out the Qs for the week, down 1.24%. As you can see here, the Qs were holding up much better than the other indices. We're right here at the 10 SMA, a little bit further distance from the 50 SMA, and you have such names as Amazon leading the way. Until the bears can really start breaking down these generals like Amazon and Google and NVDA, I think they're going to have a really hard time to break down this market. NVDA actually looks good. Facebook making another turn up. So Apple holding strong. So until the bears can really start breaking these down and getting after the Qs, I think they're going to have a really tough time of it. But we'll see. Any news blurb can come out and change that. but right now I'd have to say, bulls are still in charge. But cautiously, okay. SMH had a big pop and is holding above the 5 EMA here on the SMH. So overall, a little bit of a fraction down for the week here on the SMH, but still nicely above the 10 SMA. And after that, this big move up, just kind of consolidating here on the SMH. Let's go ahead and look at some other markets. We'll start with some commodities. USO oil perking up a little bit on Friday, trying to get back over the 50 SMA for the USO. Silver. Not, looking so good here. Silver, that's an industrial metal. Still staying below that 16 area. Couldn't even get back above and hold above 1550. So silver kind of in a trend down here, moving down. It is still in that channel though, between about 1650 and I'd say 1450, 1475 area for silver. So we're kind of still in that range in silver. Gold, was starting to try to break above the 50 SMA on our daily chart here, but then just rolled back over. It never could get back above the 129 spot. Tried it here, then they rolled it back over. So now we have to see if this 124 area is going to hold for GLD, but really not much going on with gold. The Dow Jones Industrials, Dow Jones 30, we'll take a look at that. We're below the 25,000, that round number there. Still below the 50 SMA, but holding above the 100 SMA here and above that 24.5 number. That the bulls are watching also. If that breaks to the downside, you never know. We might test this 150, the dotted orange line here again for the Dow Jones 30. So, not great action in the Dow Jones right now. Boeing, with all the tariff talk and steel prices moving up, Boeing had a kind of a wishy-washy week. Caterpillar chart rebounding a little bit. Caterpillar there. Doing okay. So, the Dow Jones, I would say, just had kind of an iffy type of week. Needs to get back over the 50 SMA. The transports were looking better though. Transports coming into, seasonality wise, transports coming into a good part of the season. Has that 195 number to break above right there, and also the 50 SMA for the IYT. The transports is 193.72. So would like to see these get back above, 194, 195 for the transports. If you want to see the actual transports, in numbers wise, same thing. The 50 SMA is at 10,738. So that's the 50 SMA for the transports. The utilities right now, a little perking up, coming up off the bottom a little bit for the utilities. The XLU turning back up, but still, just getting above the 50 SMA, but still a lot of work to do. Stuck below the 200 SMA. The XLF. The banks took a little bit of a hit this week. For the week, they were down almost 3% for the week on the XLF. You see we have a 1, 2, 3, almost 4 or 5 candle pullback here on the XLF. Couldn't get back above that round 30 number. Starting to get below the 50 SMA. Let's check the XLF on the weekly. And yeah, we are breaking below the 10 SMA. So if they want to push us back down again, maybe we'll head back down to the 20 SMA on the weekly chart, which has been a support area. But you know what they say, if you keep testing a support area, eventually you might break it. So that's down at 28.20 for the XLF. All right. Let's look at some of the biotechs, the mid-cap biotechs, the XBI, trying to get up over 98 still. We had a high here for the week of 97.87, so $98. We've hit it back here. Same thing, 98 on the XBI, so 98 would be a nice breakout, and I believe, yeah, new record highs if we can get up over that for the XBI. So 98 is the number to watch there. IBB. looking good. Came up above the 10, holding above the 10 SMA. The only problem with the IBB is you never know if President Trump, is going to come out and say anything about drug pricing, which could shoot the IBB right back down. So keep that in mind if you're long a lot of biotechs. Let's look at it on the daily chart. We're still above the 50 SMA on the IBB. We have rolled over a little bit. So, IBB, I would say XBI, well, it was looking about the same as the IBB, also rolling over here, but down to the 20 SMA. But on the weekly, I would say the XBI looks a little bit stronger than the IBB, not much. Let's look at the IWM, the small caps. A lot of small cap earnings coming out the last couple of weeks, and that's been moving the small caps around. IWM holding above the 10 SMA, so good strength there for the bulls. Let's look at the IWC for the daily, for the weekly here. Also holding above the 10, trying to break out. So IWM and IWC definitely stronger than the SPY at the moment. Let's look at it on the daily. IWM holding right here above the 10 SMA and trying to get back over my yellow dotted line here, the 5 EMA. We've had a 1, 2, 3, about 3 stick pullback, and then we had the next day up. So that looks promising, hopefully, for the bulls. IWC, same thing, three pullback here, and we hit the 10 SMA and started to turn back up. But, they sold it off a little bit here on the IWC. So we'll see if we can get a further push up and through that 101 number for the IWC. Briefly went over the SMH, but we'll look at it once a little more in depth here. We're holding the 5 EMA on the daily, above the 10, above the 13. The 20's pointed up. The 50 is turned up. So we're holding above all the fast-moving averages in the SMH on the weekly. Like I said, we're above the 10 SMA, but a little bit of a consolidation day on Friday with the SMH. No real trouble here yet on that. So, SMH still the strongest section, Intel, NVDA. NVIDIA looking strong again. AMAT, Applied Materials, TXN, all holding around and above their 10 SMAs. The light blue line you see there. MU has earnings coming up. We'll get more into that. MU been very strong. The weak one right now is Advanced Micro Devices. If their chips are supposedly hackable, inferior to Intel chips. So AMD has been kind of the weak one in the chip sector, but Applied Materials been holding up very well. Would like it to get back over the 10 SMA, maybe makes another run to try to break up over that 6250 spot for AMAT. So that's some of the semis. Let's go ahead and get into some of the items coming up for the week. C meeting begins this week. All right, that starts on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we get the FOMC forecast at 2 p.m. Then the FOMC meeting announcement. So right at 2 p.m. we get that interest rate announcement. I would think they're going to be raising rates by a quarter of a point. They've been kind of hinting at it, and I think the market, is kind of leaning that way. But then we have the Fed presser conference, all right, Fed Chair Presser Conference. And this will be the first time Jerome Powell takes questions since he's taken over the term from Janet Yellen, and that'll start at 2:30. So that'll be closely watched at 2:30. That's on Wednesday, the 21st. So big day there for the market. For the markets as far as economic information until that Wednesday. It's pretty straightforward. Then after that, oil numbers at 10:30 on Wednesday. We have nat gas numbers at 10:30, at 8:30, initial jobless claims. Nothing too out of the ordinary. And then on Friday, we have Fed speak at 8 in the morning, durable goods order, 8:30, 10 o'clock, we have new home sales, and then at 10:30, we have Neil Kashkari speaking at 10:30 a.m. on Friday. So a little bit of Fed speak, but once again, the big day is this Wednesday, the 21st. Let's go ahead and get into some earnings coming out this week. We still have quite a few earnings coming out. Some important names. We have Oracle coming out on Monday after the bell. CSIQ before the bell. That's a Canadian solar company. It's a Chinese solar company, but it's based out of Canada, I believe. So CSIQ symbol there. Oracle after the close on Monday. ORCL. Children's Place before the bell. On Tuesday, PLCE symbol there. Then we have Duluth Trading, DLTH. CHF Solutions, which the symbol there is CHF. On Tuesday, we have FedEx, Federal Express, FDX symbol there. We have Arcadia, which is RKDA symbol here after the close. So RKDA will be reporting. Steelcase, SCS. So WGO Winnebago will be reporting before the bell on Wednesday. Then we have GIS General Mills reporting before the bell. ATU Accentuant ATU will be reporting before the bell on Wednesday. After the bell, we have Five Below symbol FIVE. GES, GES will be reporting after the bell. Wheaton will be reporting. WPM symbol there for Wheaton. Then Thursday before the bell, we have Darden, DRI, ACN, Accenture. ACN symbol there, Michaels, MIK, JKS, Jinko Solar, JKS, Carnival Cruise, and Conagra. CAG for Conagra, and CCL for Carnival Cruises. And then Thursday after the close, big day for earnings. We have Micron, MU, Nike, NKE, KB Homes, KBH symbol there. We also have Cintas, which is CTAS. Jag Peaks is oil company, will be reporting. JAG. HTG Molecular, which is the HTGM symbol there for HT Molecular. And then Friday, we just finish it up with a couple of companies here before they open. No names. But Thursday is the big day. Micron, Nike, KB Homes. So big day for Thursday after the bell with a few bigger companies sprinkled in along the way for earnings next week. Let's go ahead and look. Friday, we had US Steel, PENN, CA, VMW, IFF, KSS, GCP, FIT, AMBA, and SVU, all with unusual call activity in those names. And then to the put side, unusual put activity, KERX, HRTX, TSM, DKS, and TXN. So that's some of your unusual put activity from courtesy of the trade exchange. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the best stocks for the week. This is the best stocks for the week. Some of the best stocks for the week, not all of them, but the reason I like to do this gives you a little flavor for what was moving in the market the week prior. So this SSW was up 20% this week, so they had a very good week. That's a shipping company. DKS, after their earnings, had a gain of 9% for the week on DKS. JBL also had a nice earnings week, up 11% on JBL. ULTA had earnings this week. Stock ended up about 8% for the week. DG, Dollar General, also had earnings up about 10% for the week on Dollar General. MU just had a very nice week prior to their earnings coming out on Thursday, which was up 11% for the week last week. So MU very strong. WDC, analyst upgrades in WDC DC, and that one pushed higher, 7% for the week. Having a great week there, up 7%. Triple D had earnings this week. The stock was up about 3% for the week on 3D. INO having a nice week, up 14%. A biotech name, DRYS. Another shipper up 6% for the week. So maybe shippers are starting to make a little bit of a move off the bottoms here. So Dries and that other one that I showed you, SSW also having a nice week. So a couple of shippers there having a good week. Kodak, KODK reported earnings this week, up 10% for the week on Kodak. FSLR up 3% for the week. KBSF having a great week, up 25% for the week. DXR up 125% for the week on DXR, small medical instruments company there. ADVM nicely up 7%. ARQL also had a nice run this week, up 25%. PTI, they were granted a breakthrough therapy designation on PTI. That stock up 77% on that breakthrough therapy designation on PTI. AKCA, AKCA INOS announced licensing deal with AKCA. So that was AKCA, and that sent that stock up 61% for the week on that licensing deal. RKDA was up over 300% for the week, RKDA. We also had SMRT, which is Steinmart, up 87% for the week. Small little retailer there, up 87%. RXII up 25% for the week. AMTX up 113% for the week. LFIN had a up week, up 45% in LFIN. BXC up 132% for the week on BXC. Some stocks that had the worst stocks for the week right here. KTOS, we'll start out with that one, down 19% as Spruce Point Capital. They came out, they are a noted short seller, says it sees 40 to 70% downside in KTOS. So that stock down 19% for the week on that. CNX, which was very strong, was having a nice move, came up to the 200 SMA on the weekly, and we got a pullback here of about 12% for the week on CNX. US Steel down about 9% for the week. Might have been a kind of a sell the news move there, but call activity in the name on Friday helped it to bounce. So we'll have an eye on US Steel going forward, that's for sure. It still was down 9% for the week though. GALT, G-A-L-T, down 8% for the week. TTWO also down 8% for the week. ATVI, so some of the gaming stocks have taken a hit, but they've had big moves. ATVI down 8.36% last week. KERX down 9%. Boeing, BA down 7%, but the stock's been on a huge run in Boeing, so maybe a little bit of profit taking there. And the tariff talk might raise the price of aluminum for their planes. So Boeing fell about 7%. JCPenney taking a little bit of a hit, down 5% this week. SHLD, is this one going to go the way of Toys R Us? Down 9% for the week on SHLD. Mattel and Hasbro. Mattel down over 7%. Hasbro also taking a hit, down 4% this week as Toys R Us goes into liquidation. OREX, Chapter 11 there on OREX, down 81% for the week. Ears failed for the third consecutive time. It's phase 3, so Ears was down 42% for the week as they failed that phase 3 another time. SLDB, phase 1, 2 2 trials on hold, all right, placed on clinical hold for SLDP, and that stock dropped 66% for the week. Under Armour didn't have such a great week either. A little bit of a pullback there, about 5%. ANTH phase 3 did not meet its endpoints on ANTH. Stock dropped 85%. RMTI, they had earnings miss on RMTI, stock down 11% for the week. BLUE got a sell rating at Favas Research, a sell rating on blue, so down 14% from Favas Research sell rating on that one. SILC took a 40% hit, and they lost one of their basically customers, right? They're in the cloud space, and they lost one of their customers, and so that stock dropped 40%. Overstock OSTK down 25% for the week after their earnings, so drop there on Overstock. And lastly, Jill. JILL, believe they had earnings come out, and that stock dropped 42% for the week on JILL. So that's some of your worst stocks for the week. So I like to end these videos. We'll just look at some other ETFs, like some things that you might not look at on your own. We'll take a look at BOTZ, BOTZ, Artificial Intelligence ETF, right now stuck below the 50 SMA on that. So these are a little bit obscure type of ETFs, but I like to every once in a while take a look at them. We'll also look at Hack. This is the cybersecurity ETF. You know, we've had a big, nice move up in this, pulling back a little bit, but still above the 10 SMA here on the daily. Robo, which is the automation index ETF, you know, having a tough time here around $44 a share, back below the 50 SMA. So a little bit of a rollover there. We'll look at it on the weekly though. Trying to hug on to the 10 SMA here on Robo automation index, which is the solar ETF. A couple of names in TAN, FSLR, Sedge, which has been actually the leader, very strong. Sedge, actually stronger than First Solar, and Run has been very strong. RUN making a very nice move here. They had earnings, I think, either last week or a couple of weeks ago, and holding up nicely there for the TAN. Social, the ETF for, you know, names such as Facebook and Twitter, Snap. Are in this. Snap not having a great week, but that's social. So trying to get up over $39 a share, but pulling back here, holding the 10 SMA on the daily chart. If we look at it on the weekly chart, we've been riding pretty much the 10 and the 20 all this time on SOCL, the ETF there. And then lastly, we'll take a look at the steel index. All right, Vector Steel ETF having a nice run here on the weekly, now below the 10 SMA, has been holding the 20 SMA on the steel ETF. We'll look at it on the daily, a little bit of a rollover there, back below the 50 SMA and below all the fast moving averages for the steel ETF SLX. All right, everybody, so that's your let's get ready for the week ahead, the 19th through the 23rd. Just make note that the FOMC Wednesday is your big day for the markets, right? We have the Fed chair presser. That'll be on the 21st of March at 2:30. The announcement for the Fed comes out at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, so just really be on the lookout for all that. I would say the markets lean in favor of the bulls, but not by much, all right? A little caution there. You know, and you know, we'll see what the market wants to throw at us for next week, or I should say President Trump. You know, they do have Larry Kudlow in the economic advisor position. The market seems to like that move, but we'll have to see what other moves President Trump is going to make in the week ahead. Also, overhanging the market, we still do have North Korea. They're supposed to talk in May, Trump and the leader from North Korea. Also, we have tariffs still overhanging with the EU and what their repercussions are going to be. So, and also now we're starting to direct some tariffs towards China. So we have to see what the reactions are going to be with China. All right. So a few things on our plate still. They always keep it interesting. I would say the market still leans towards the bulls, but cautiously, all right, with some things that could definitely move this market coming up for the week ahead. All right, this has been the Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead. I'll be back later with the stocks to watch video. And hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you gained anything from it, please hit the thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate that. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. And have a great day, everybody. We'll be back with the Stocks on Watch video later on for Sunday night.